This week on the Rock Holiday Special, we take a look at some fun activities you can do over break. After, we take a tour of Anacortes' best Christmas decorations. And then, Ali Perez speaks to two AHS alumni about their after-school experiences. And then we take a look at the positives of 2020, and finally, the rock before Christmas.
Welcome back to the Rock AHS. I'm Ali Perez.
And I'm Amy Agregard. We've got a great show lined up for you today, full of holiday cheer.
It's a godsend. I feel like holiday cheer is really lacking this year.
I know. Luckily, I've compiled a list of solo activities we can do over break that should make it a little bit more festive. Let's take a look. This year's holiday season is definitely looking different. With so many businesses and activities shut down, it can be hard to get into the holiday spirit. However, there are still activities that can be done that will lower students' stress and can abide by COVID protocol. First and foremost, getting away from computer screens is a good step to lowering stress, especially this year. During the 2 weeks AHS has off, you should try to look at screens as little as possible to let your brain rest. Getting into a good book is an exciting way to distract yourself from what's happening in the US right now. If you pick a day with good weather, a hiking trail is also a great way to get outside your home safely. Even though holiday activities have been pulled to a halt this season, Christmas lights in neighborhoods are still shining bright. Driving through with a friend or two is a great way to get into the holiday mood. Hot chocolate is a staple drink this time of year, but have you ever tried making it from scratch? Try this recipe and experience the best of homemade hot chocolate. You can also start planning your New Year's resolutions. January is coming up fast. Stay positive and stay busy, AHS, and remember, try to stay away from screens as much as possible to let your eyeballs rest. For the Rock at AHS, I'm Amy Agregard.
I'm so glad we're still able to do some stuff this holiday season.
Me too. I especially love watching Christmas lights inside of a warm car, but I don't want to waste gas driving around looking for houses.
You're in luck. Gabe Burnett and Nathan Morgan created a segment featuring the hot places you must drive by when looking at the decorated houses.
With the holidays upon us, we are sadly stuck in our homes, cut off from our community. Even though the holiday spirit may seem a little cramped this year, it still burns brightly, and the denizens of our little island town have really shown off their holiday spirits this week. Let's take a look at some of these festive decorations. Man, how wonderful was that? Even though this year definitely won't go down as the greatest Christmas of all time, it sure is nice to see that people exude all the love and joy that they do every year. And with that, I'm Gabriel Burnett with The Rock, signing off. Merry Christmas, AHS.
If you'd like a map with all of the best places in town to look for Christmas lights in one spot, go to the ASB Instagram page and click the link in their bio, or check your school email. There should also be a link there. But just a reminder, this is not an ASB funded event.
It's a really great resource though. You won't want to miss some of those houses. Gosh, I can't believe it's already Christmas. Before we know it, the school year will be over.
I know, it's kind of intimidating to think about life after high school for those of us graduating.
Absolutely. I spoke with two AHS alumni about their after high school experience, and boy, are they inspiring. Learn more about their musical journey in this next segment. Here on The Rock, we do many stories asking seniors about their after grad plans, but rarely do we follow up on those plans. That changes today. AHS alumni Julia and Sterling Laws are musicians, and while that may not be the most conventional career, they are doing quite well in their endeavors. I spoke with them to learn more about what they are up to and how the music industry is treating them.
I play in a band called Low Moon, and we have one record that's released, so you can listen to that. It's called Low Moon 1, self-titled. And then I've played on some other songs, like as a hired musician on some other things, and if you want to check those out, you can go on to allmusic.com and search my name.
I release music as Ron Boy. It's RONBOY, and it's on Spotify and Apple Music and anywhere that you would like to find music. And as of now, I have an EP out called Velvet.
Recently, both Julia and Sterling had the opportunity to perform with lead singer of The National, Matt Berninger, on The Tonight Show with Jimmy Fallon and The Late Show with Stephen Colbert.
You know, obviously we weren't at The Tonight Show. We were in a studio in Los Angeles that was very carefully monitored. Some of the people that played on his record don't live in Los Angeles, so I think that was a bit tricky to have everybody in the same place. And then some of the people that play in the band with us on The Tonight Show played on his record, his first solo record, which is really great. And so it's been a lot of fun to revamp those songs live. And Matt is a really, really amazing human being and a really nice person. And so anytime you can play a show or shows or even just jam with somebody like that is a total pleasure.
You know, when we did Waiting for the Man, and like the producer came up to me and said, you know, you just dance around and have fun, and then Matt kind of took over and danced around and had fun and would like go back and scream at Sterling like in excitement. And I think we all really felt it was a moment of feeling alive again for us. It was really cool. And to work with Matt for the first time, I mean, he's so kind and he's really funny and a pleasure to work with, and all of the musicians, it was really cool to be in the room with everyone.
So, why music?
I've always felt like I really wanted to try to do this because I love doing it, and I would do it whether I got paid a lot of money or I got paid nothing, and it's what I really love to do. And so if it means that it affords me the ability to pay my phone bill, then that's great. And if it doesn't, then I'm gonna keep doing it anyway. To me, the music that I love the most evokes an emotion from me, whether it's like an old punk record or a jazz record or, you know, a classic indie rock record, whatever it is, it makes me feel something, and those are my favorite records. And so when I play something like that makes me feel that way, then that's like the greatest feeling in the world.
There are these really unique moments where things, and it's not all the time, but I feel in studios or on stage, there are these moments where everyone just kind of clicks together and has this big moment that you can't describe, and it is just beyond words, but everyone is connected.
What's the best advice you'd give to someone considering a career in the music industry?
Work as hard as you can, but also stay true to why you started playing music in the first place, and really find enjoyment in it.
People can tell when you're not authentic. So if you don't believe in what you're doing, nobody else is going to.
Do stuff that makes you feel uncomfortable, because you're going to look back at that and think, wow, I'm really glad that I at least tried or that I gave it a shot.
You can expect new music from both Low Moon and Ron Boy at the start of this coming year.
We probably also wouldn't be where we are without those people that were so integral into us growing up. So thank you, all of you. You know who you are.
Wow, it's so cool how much publicity they're getting, and the fact that they're from our high school is even cooler.
For sure. It's nice to hear a positive story in the midst of all of the negative news.
You'll like this next story then. Elijah Huerta covered a recap of all the good news in 2020.
Hello, everyone. My name is Elijah Huerta, and I'm going to be your host for tonight's segment. As you can probably tell from the title, we're going to be taking a look back into 2020. But we're not going to take a look back on all of 2020. We're just going to be taking a look back at all the good things that have happened in 2020. Welcome back. Before we end this segment, I'd like to ask some questions to a couple of people regarding their 2020 and how good it has been. And those people are Mr. Wendling and Mr. Burnett. What was the best thing to come out of 2020 for you or your family?
The best thing for me, that's pretty easy. We had a baby daughter in June. Her name is Eden. She's our fifth daughter. So that is the best thing that's come out of 2020 for me and my family.
What are your hopes for 2021?
2021, I want to have my students around me again. I hope to see my family. My father died last year, and we weren't able to meet as a family and honor him. So I'm hoping to be able to go with my children and my brothers and sisters together to honor my father.
Well, thank you guys for being here, and have a Merry Christmas.
You're welcome. Thank you for asking.
Well, looks like we've reached the end of this segment. I hope you had a good time tonight like I have. This has been Elijah Huerta reporting for The Rock. Stay safe and happy holidays.
I can't believe that all happened this year. It's gone by so quickly, yet so slowly. My concept of time is way off.
I know, it's crazy that 2021 is right around the corner. Before we wrap up our show for the day, the Rock students wanted to spread a little bit more holiday cheer before everyone goes off to break.
Enjoy Jonah Umayam's astounding rendition of The Night Before Christmas, with guest stars students from The Rock.
Shalom, and happy holidays, AHS. My name is Joni Umayam, and we here at The Rock love Christmas. And since it's been such a weird year and we can't have a normal holiday rock this time around, we thought we'd make something special for this last show before Christmas. This is The Rock Before Christmas. 'Twas the night before Christmas, when all through the rock not a creature was stirring, not a student could walk. The tripods were hung by the chimney with care, in hopes that Jim Thompson soon would be there. The students were nestled all snug in their beds, while visions of rock segments danced in their heads, and while no one in Anacortes made a single peep, the rock settled their brains for a long winter sleep. When outside the studio arose such a clatter, the students sprang from their beds to see what was the matter. Away to the window they flew like a flash, tore open the shutters and threw up the sash. The moon on the breast of the lack of snow gave a luster of midday to objects below, when what to their wondering eyes did appear but a miniature van and 8 tiny reindeer. With a little old driver so lively and funny, they knew in that moment he was JT Money. More rapid than eagles his coursers they came, and he whistled and shouted and called them by name. Now Lucky, now Adobe, now Hoxie and Nifty, on B-roll, on Cannon, on Bullpen and Jimmy. To the top of the booth, to the top of the wall, now dash away, dash away, dash away all. As leaves that before the wild hurricane fly, when they meet with an obstacle mount to the sky, so up to the studio the coursers they flew, with the van full of equipment and Jimmy Claus too. And then, in a twinkling, they heard on the roof the prancing and pawing of each little hoof. As they drew in their heads and were turning around, down the chimney Jim Thompson came with a bound. He was dressed in a flannel from his head to his foot, and his clothes were all tarnished with ashes and soot. A bundle of equipment he had flung on his back, and he looked like a peddler just opening his pack. His eyes, how they twinkled, his dimples, how merry. His cheeks were like roses, his nose like a cherry. His droll little mouth was drawn up like a bow, and the beard on his chin was as white as the snow. The stump of a pipe he held tight in his teeth, and the smoke it encircled his head like a wreath. He had a broad face and a round little belly that shook when he laughed like a bowl full of jelly. He was lean and fit, a jolly elf so spry, the students laughed when they saw him. Just look at this guy. A wink of his eye and a twist of his head soon gave them to know they had nothing to dread. He spoke not a word, but went straight to his work, and uploaded the rock, then turned with a jerk, and laying his finger aside of his nose, and giving a nod up the chimney he rose. He sprang to his van, to his team gave a whistle, and away they all flew like the down of a thistle. But they heard him exclaim, ere he drove out of sight, "Merry Christmas, AHS, and to all a good night." Merry Christmas, AHS. Happy New Year. Thank God 2020 is over. Jeez.
That was absolutely breathtaking.
Agreed. Well, that wraps up our show for today. Thanks for tuning in to the last rock show of the year.
If you have any questions, comments, or concerns, email them to therock@asd103.org. We love to hear your feedback. And try to get some rest over this winter break. And with that, I'm Amy Agargard.
And I'm Ali Perez.
And from our rock to yours, have a great holiday break, AHS.